$2.98. That's how much money it will take to buy a gallon of paint. To make the purchase, his father gives him a $5 bill, a crisp, new $5 bill.
You know a place where a bucket of paint still costs $3? Yeah, me neither. But that clip, that's how they trained us to see money. As fixed, logical, mechanical. But the truth, you didn't click this by accident. Some part of you knows. That money isn't just paper, digits, or work points. It's energy. And right now, it's either flowing to you or running the hell away. Not because you're lazy, not because you're unlucky, and definitely not because you don't deserve it. It's because of one thing, your frequency. Money doesn't care about effort. It doesn't reward grind. It doesn't show up for the desperate. It mirrors you, your baseline beliefs, your hidden programming, your emotional charge around it. If money feels chaotic, scarce, or like it vanishes the moment you get it, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you were wired wrong. By parents who stressed about bills, by schools that never taught wealth, by systems that trained you to survive, not thrive. And that wiring, still running your financial life like a virus in your subconscious. Let this land. Money doesn't respond to logic. It responds to energy. You can have all the degrees, work 18-hour days, and want it more than anything. But if your frequency says, I don't have enough, the universe listens and gives you more of that. Right now, you're tuned into one of two channels, lack or flow. And here's the truth. Whichever one you're locked into, it's running the show. But the good news? You're not stuck. This isn't permanent. This isn't fate. You can rewire it. You can retune your frequency. You can shift your energy field so wealth comes to you like oxygen, effortless, automatic, constant. And that's exactly what this is. Your step-by-step guide to flipping the entire wealth game in your favor. Because here's what almost no one tells you. Money isn't earned. It's allowed. And until you heal that core wound, the one whispering, I'm not safe to have wealth, nothing will stick. No budget, no hustle, no manifestation technique. Here's the unlock. Money is energy, and your energy is the password. Let's shatter the illusion. Money is not a thing. It's a frequency. It's not earned, not handed out, not deserved by the grind. It's matched. It's allowed. It's mirrored back to you based on your internal state. And until you understand that, you'll keep playing a rigged game built to burn you out. Here's what they never taught you. Money isn't backed by gold. It's not backed by hard value. It's backed by one thing. Belief. Our collective agreement. That's the whole system. Belief equals energy contract. Just like the observer effect in quantum physics, your beliefs collapse potential into reality. Believe money is hard? Boom, you get that version. Believe money flows easily to you? Now you've collapsed that timeline. The field listens to frequency. Your subconscious sets the frequency, and 90% of it was programmed before you could even speak. Read that again. This is why hard work alone never cuts it. It's why people grind 12-hour days and still feel broke. It's why someone with less hustle but cleaner energy pulls in wealth without breaking a sweat. Because it's not about doing more. It's about being aligned. No alignment, no flow, it's that simple, and that dangerous, if you ignore it. See, money isn't real. It's not rooted in nature. It's not divine law. It's paper, just digits. A belief system with excellent branding. And yet, this illusion runs your life. It controls how you feel when you wake up, how safe you feel in your own skin, how worthy you think you are as a man. Why? Because from the time you were a child, you were hypnotized into believing that money equals survival, success, and value. And now, without realizing it, you live in service to something that only exists if you believe in it. That's not a conspiracy. That's basic spiritual law. Money is belief made physical. Let me show you how deep the spell really goes. If every person on earth woke up tomorrow and said, money has no value, the system would collapse instantly. No banks, no credit, This has already happened. Repeatedly. Germany, 1920s. Zimbabwe, 2000s. People were burning stacks of cash just to stay warm, not because they lost money, because the belief collapsed. And here's the part you were never told. This belief system isn't neutral. It's rigged. You were programmed to view money as hard to get, easy to lose, only for the lucky or ruthless. Why? Because if they can keep you in scarcity, they can keep you obedient. This isn't just about banks and governments. It's spiritual warfare. Now let's get a little more esoteric, because words carry power. Take the word currency. It comes from the Latin currere, meaning to run, to flow. That's what money was always meant to be. Movement, energy, circulation. And what happens when your inner wiring is built on lack? You block the flow. You repel money without realizing it. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how hard you grind, how much you want it. And somewhere along the line, it got hijacked. Money stopped being flow and started becoming control. Governments, corporations, institutions, they took what was fluid and froze it. Turned energy into shackles. They built a system that looks like freedom, but keeps your soul on a leash. Debt isn't an accident, it's a design. You're told to get an education to succeed, but what you really get is decades of repayment. You trade your time for a paycheck, not to live freely, but to barely survive inside someone else's rules. That's the spell. That's the illusion. And here's the brutal truth. It was never the money that enslaved you. It was how they programmed you to feel about it. The real magic trick wasn't the paper. It was the belief system they baked into your nervous system. The feeling that there's never enough, that you must hustle for permission, that worth equals productivity. But here's what they fear most. If you reclaim your belief, you reclaim your power. Because you were never meant to bow to money. You were meant to use it, a tool. Money is not a god. You were born to flow, not to fear, not to chase, not to grind for the scraps of a system designed to keep you small. Your real job isn't just to make more, it's to escape the trap entirely. To dismantle the invisible architecture in your subconscious that tells you you're only valuable if you're suffering. No, you were built for abundance, and now it's time to return to it. And here's the secret no one teaches you. Money loves movement. It lives in circulation. It dies in fear. When you hoard from panic, you're not protecting your future. You're casting a spell of lack. You're sending one clear, loud signal to the universe. I don't trust the flow. I don't believe more is coming. And the universe? It mirrors that exact frequency back. Because this is the law. As within, so without. As above, so below. Your internal state becomes your external bank account. If you feel safe, open, abundant, money flows. If you tighten, hoard, stress, money disappears. Because money isn't just a number. It's current. It's energy in motion. It's called currency for a reason. It was meant to flow. But when you spend with intention, when you give with confidence, when you invest from overflow instead of fear, you flip the switch. You activate flow. Because money isn't meant to be locked in vaults. It's meant to move, to circulate. And the biggest lie they fed you is to save everything, spend nothing, and hold tight on your money. Energetically, that's like holding your breath until you pass out. Money is like oxygen. You inhale, you exhale, you give, you receive. You can't just take. You can't just save. You have to move it. Wealth isn't built by what you keep. It's activated by what you release with trust. Because wealth is not a thing. It's a circuit. And circuits only work when they're open. The moment you open that flow, the system responds. Not someday. Immediately. Let me introduce you to someone. His name is Eric. He's not real, but he might as well be. Because some part of you is him. Eric's 49th. Self-employed plumber. Been at it 22 years. He's the guy people call when the ceiling's collapsing, when the pipes burst at 3 a.m. When no one else picks up the phone, Eric shows up. He's not lazy, not dumb, not reckless. He's early. He undercharges. He gets the job done, right every single time. And yet, he's broke. Still chasing bills, still living paycheck to paycheck, still telling himself it's just a slow season. But the truth? Eric's not just tired. He's energetically bankrupt, burned out from more than just work, burned out from carrying a spell. The same spell you might be carrying right now. If I'm not struggling, I don't deserve money. If I charge more, no one will hire me. If I finally succeed, something bad will happen. Eric doesn't just fix pipes. He fixes everyone else's problems, because deep down he never learned how to solve his own. He was taught that to be a good man meant sacrifice, that asking for more was selfish, that making real money would turn him into someone people would hate. So instead of rising, he shrinks. He calls it humility. But it's not. It's fear dressed as virtue. Fear handed down like a family heirloom from men who died broke and were praised for working hard until the end. Eric doesn't know money is energy. He thinks it's a punishment, something you earn by bleeding, crawling, grinding through basements and blisters. And every time he gets ahead, boom, a random bill, a broken van, a slow week, a fine. But it's not random, it's a pattern. His nervous system is wired for one thing: survival. Not overflow, not expansion, not peace. Because somewhere deep in his subconscious, Eric made a decision he doesn't even remember. If I have more, I'll lose myself. If I stop struggling, no one will need me. If I charge my worth, I'll end up alone. So he keeps his rates the same. He keeps saying yes when he wants to scream no, and he keeps wondering why nothing changes. But the truth is, Eric isn't broken. He's just running outdated code. Subconscious scripts passed down from generations who never stop to question them. And unless he rewrites that code, nothing will shift. Not the income, not the clients, not the struggle. Because no matter how hard he works, his energy is still screaming, "Please don't let me thrive. I wouldn't know who I am without the suffering." If that hit, it's because you've lived it. You've worn the same armor. You've told yourself the same story. But here's the power. The spell only holds as long as it stays unconscious. And now, you see it. You feel it. You know. So the pattern is exposed. The story isn't finished. Not for Eric. And not for you. Awareness breaks the spell, and choice rewrites the code. Because here's the real truth. You weren't born with a scarcity mindset. You inherited it. It started early. When you were a kid and asked for something simple and heard, "We can't afford that." Money doesn't grow on trees. Be grateful for what you have. Those weren't just innocent phrases. They were commands, planted in your subconscious like code, etched into your nervous system like scars. And every time you heard them, your body learned one thing. Money is hard. Money is scarce. Wanting more is wrong. By the time you were 7, your money blueprint was already locked in. Not based on truth, not based on universal laws, but based on fear, based on lack, based on someone else's wounds. And then, school reinforced it. Did anyone teach you about energy? About wealth frequency? About how to receive? No, they taught you to sit still, memorize, obey, trade time for money, follow rules, ask permission. They didn't train you for freedom. They trained you for the rat race. And religion. That came with another layer of conditioning. The love of money is the root of all evil. Blessed are the poor. You can't serve God and money. Let's set the record straight. Money isn't evil. It's neutral. It just amplifies what's already there. If you're greedy, money magnifies it. If you're generous, money becomes a tool for impact. But guess who benefits when you believe that being broke is holy? The system. Because broke people are easier to control. And then there's the trauma. Maybe you watched your parents fight over bills. Maybe money disappeared as fast as it came in. Maybe every time things felt good, something collapsed. Those moments didn't just hurt. They imprinted. They wired your body to fear having money, to brace for loss, to expect chaos. So now, every time abundance shows up, you flinch, you undersell, you overgive, you sabotage. Because somewhere deep inside, your energy says, wealth isn't safe. Better to lose it before it gets taken from me. And if that wasn't enough, we've got social media pouring gasoline on the fire. You scroll and see everyone winning, flashing success, moving faster than you, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel behind, small, ashamed, less than. That's not motivation. That's energetic debt, and you're paying the price every time you compare. Every message, every moment, every belief, all of it stacked into your blueprint. And whether you're aware of it or not, that blueprint is creating your financial reality right now. But here's the power. What was programmed can be deprogrammed. Let's go deeper into something most people don't talk about. But mystics knew this for centuries. In Kabbalah, there's a core principle. Energy flows through vessels. But here's the catch. If your vessel is unstable, if it's too small, too fractured, or built on fear, the light doesn't bless you. It breaks you. This is why some people attract money and immediately lose it. You've seen it. Maybe you've lived it. They get the raise. They land the contract. They inherit the check. They win the lawsuit. They sell the company. And then they unravel. Stress skyrockets. Paranoia creeps in. They overspend. They underperform. They sabotage it all and go right back to where they were. Take lottery winners. 70% of them go broke within 5 years. Some go bankrupt. Others end up worse off than before they won. Now let's look at athletes. These men train for years. Discipline, sacrifice, mental toughness. But the second they step into multi-million-dollar contracts, they unravel. And according to Sports Illustrated, 78% of NFL players go broke or financially stressed within 2 years of retirement. And 60% of NBA players are broke within 5 years of leaving the league. These are men who had everything: money, fame, attention, access. So what happened? No one taught them how to reprogram their subconscious wealth identity, so the money comes in fast and leaves just as fast, because if you don't believe you're safe to hold wealth, you will subconsciously eject it. Even if you're rich on paper, even if the world thinks you've made it. And that's why this isn't just about getting money. It's about preparing your energy field to hold it, protect it, and expand with it. Because if money is energy, your energy field is the container. If that field is cracked, chaotic, weak, or unhealed, money will do what energy always does. It will short-circuit the system. You don't just need to attract wealth, you need to be able to hold it without breaking down. And here's the truth. Most people's energy fields are fragile, not because they're weak, but because they've never been taught how to protect their frequency. They attract money, but they're still leaking energy. So when the money shows up, their field cracks, their nervous system collapses, and they find themselves spiraling, even with more than enough. Why? Because their energetic vessel couldn't hold what arrived. And in Kabbalistic terms, that's called the shattering of the vessels. It's not punishment, it's feedback. The light didn't betray them. It just exposed them. Because money doesn't fix who you are. It reveals who you are. Then it amplifies it. If you carry guilt, shame, fear, or trauma around money, that's exactly what will get louder when the money arrives. If you feel unsafe receiving, you'll reject abundance when it shows up. If you don't believe you're enough, you'll find a way to push wealth away so your reality matches your subconscious self-image. Let's drop the ego for a second. You've worked hard, provided, fixed things, stayed quiet, tough it out while no one asked how you were doing. You've made it this far. But let me ask you something, honestly. When's the last time you felt rich? Not on paper, not in your bank account, in your body, in your spirit, in your soul. If you're being real, it's been a while, hasn't it? Because you've been bleeding energy for years. Not just through bills or responsibility, but through silence, suppression, loneliness, shame. No one taught you how to receive. They only taught you how to give until you collapsed. So now you sit with a tired body, a cluttered mind, a growing resentment that whispers, "What the hell is all this for?" You don't talk about it. You wouldn't dare say it out loud, but it's there. And here's the brutal truth. You're not just blocked financially. You're blocked energetically. You're carrying the weight of men who never got free. Men who worked themselves to death while hiding their pain behind a quiet nod and a half smile. You think it's about money? It's not. It's about what money represents. Safety, power, peace, choice. The ability to say no without guilt. And until you heal the parts of you that feel unworthy of that freedom, you'll keep chasing scraps and calling it survival. It's not too late. But you can't keep pretending. Because here's what happens if you do. You keep working for less than you're worth. You keep waking up with anxiety in your chest. You keep distracting yourself with YouTube and quiet scrolling. And eventually, you break down. Alone, bitter, unseen, just like your father did, just like your grandfather did, just like every man who thought money would save him, without ever learning to save himself first. That's the real reason you're watching this right now. Some part of you knows the strategy isn't enough. The surface fixes won't work. You need a new frequency. You need to be rebuilt from the inside out. Let's say you're ready. You're done pretending. You're done struggling in silence, and you're ready to change everything. Good. Because this isn't about theory anymore. This is about reprogramming your field and becoming a man who holds wealth with ease, purpose, and peace. But before wealth can trust you, you have to learn how to trust yourself. Here's what that looks like. 1. Seal your energy field. Morning. Wake up. No phone, no noise. Stand in silence and say aloud, "I command my energy back. I close all loops leaking power. I am safe to receive. I am ready to hold more." Breathe, slowly, like a man who's not afraid to be still. Second, move with value. Don't just work. Operate like your time is sacred. Raise your prices. Say no to people who drain you. Show up like someone who knows his energy is currency, because it is. 3. Speak like a wealthy man. No more. "I can't afford it. It's just not in the cards. I guess I'll figure it out." Say this instead. "Wealth is finding me now. Every dollar I spend returns multiplied. My value increases daily, and I'm safe to receive more than I ever have." Even if it feels fake, say it. Because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a lie and a command. 4. Clean your space. Like you're preparing for royalty. Your environment mirrors your subconscious. If your room's a mess, your mind is leaking power. Clean it. Organize it. Burn something sacred. Make space for abundance. Literally. 5th night ritual, subconscious wealth implantation. Before sleep, no distractions. Close your eyes and say, "I did enough today. I trust the process. I release control. I receive in my rest." Visualize yourself wealthy. Not flashy, just free. Waking up slow. Breathing deep. Doing work you love. And not needing money. Because you're aligned with it. This isn't about becoming a new man. It's about returning to the man you were before the world beat it out of you. Before you were taught to shrink. Before you learned to hide. Before you believed struggle was your purpose. This is your ritual of return to power, to peace, to wealth. And if no one told you this before, let me be the first. You're allowed to rise, and this time you don't have to do it alone. And here's a hard truth. Most people will never feel wealthy, not because they don't have money, but because they don't know how to see it. They define wealth too narrowly, too literally, too small. They think wealth is cash, numbers on a screen, bills in a wallet, digital balances in banking apps. But that is the lowest vibration of abundance, the final expression of wealth, after it has already passed through every higher dimension. In truth, wealth is encoded in far more subtle forms. A stranger helping you without asking, a near disaster that never happens, a health checkup that comes back clean, or a client cancelling a contract that would have drained you, a conversation with a random person that realigns your entire life, or a delay that saves you from something unseen. And if you can't recognize these things as forms of currency, you are energetically rejecting the flow of abundance, without even realizing it. This is the spiritual trap. If you only recognize dollars as wealth, you are spiritually poor, even when life is trying to bless you. Because the source doesn't only pay in cash, it pays in time, it pays in energy, it pays in protection, redirection, peace, health, and people. But most people are so programmed to see only money that when those miracles arrive in disguise, they ignore them, dismiss them, or worse, complain that money still hasn't shown up. Imagine that. The universe clears an illness you never saw coming, but because no money landed in your account that day, you feel broke. This is the poverty mindset in its most toxic form. Blindness to invisible wealth. You must adjust your lens. You must begin to see the higher forms of wealth before the lower ones can stick. Because here's the metaphysical law. What you recognize expands. What you ignore contracts. If you start seeing every blessing, every redirection, every moment of grace as a form of income, you will expand your receiving field faster than any hustle could ever achieve. Why? Because you're finally proving to the universe, I'm paying attention. I can hold wealth in all its forms, not just cash, but energy, insight, favor, flow. And once you can do that, cash becomes the side effect, not the goal. To the universe, a miracle costs no more than a coin. It's all energy. It doesn't care about your obsession with bills or bank accounts. It cares whether your field is open. And your field opens when your perception shifts. So here's the work. Start tracking non-monetary abundance. What showed up for you today that saved time, energy, or stress? Who offered help, guidance, or presence without being asked? What didn't happen? That could have gone wrong. These are not small things. These are currency codes. These are wealth signals. And the more you see them, the more your subconscious accepts wealth. Here's the truth you were never told. Money doesn't just respond to effort. It responds to signals. Energetic ones, emotional ones, ritualistic ones. Your bank account is not just a reflection of your income. It's a reflection of your frequency. And if your frequency says I'm stuck, then even when money arrives, it doesn't stay. That's why mindset isn't enough. You need rituals. You need physical anchors that send a message to the field. I'm no longer operating from fear. I'm now in overflow. And here are 3 simple physical acts that speak the language of your subconscious to the universe, and they work fast. 1. The circulation spell. Money that doesn't move becomes dead weight. And when you hoard from fear, you stop the current. This spell reactivates the current instantly. What to do? Give a small amount of money away anonymously. Doesn't have to be big, can be as small as $5. Give it to someone who needs it. Leave it in a tip jar. Slip it into a stranger's grocery cart. Pay for the next guy's coffee. But here's the key. Do it with a clear, conscious thought. Say it in your mind. This proves I trust the flow. I let it move because I know it always returns. Multiplied. This isn't about charity. This is about energetic circulation. You're telling the field, I'm not in fear. I'm in command. And once the current is open again, it flows back stronger. 2. The receipt ritual. Most people make purchases and feel guilt, shame, fear, tightness. So their energy says, I'm not safe to spend. I'm scared it won't come back. That signal kills flow. This ritual reprograms that frequency at the exact moment money leaves. What to do? Take a receipt from a purchase that made you feel good. Not survival spending, joyful spending. A dinner, a gift, a book, something light. Write this on the back of the receipt. Money returns to me, multiplied, with ease. Then fold it and place it in your wallet or purse. Every time you see it, touch it, or even feel it, you remind your subconscious, I am the source, not the system. Money flows through me, not to me. That's a whole different identity. And the field always responds to identity. 3. The overflow envelope. Most people only use money in 2 ways. Spend it and feel guilty. Save it and feel terrified to lose it. This ritual introduces a third, more powerful path, pure overflow. What to do? Every time you receive money, no matter how small, take 5 to 10% of it and place it in a special envelope labeled overflow. Don't touch it. Don't save it for emergencies. Just let it build. Why? Because this is energetic evidence. You're telling your subconscious, this isn't my last dollar. I'm not just surviving. I have more than enough. You're not hoarding. You're declaring. You're creating a visual, physical reminder that I operate from abundance now. And the more you build this envelope, the more your identity aligns with that truth. And the more money begins to flow in, not through effort, but through resonance. These aren't just habits. They are frequency codes, rituals that reprogram your nervous system and broadcast a new signal to the universe. Because you can't just think rich. You have to act aligned. And ritual is how you bridge thought into form. So start today. Don't wait for more. Send the signal now. And watch how fast the system responds. And as an example, you already know this one about Jim Carrey. He wrote himself a check for $10 million when he was a broke, unknown actor. Dated it 5 years into the future. Visualized cashing it daily, sometimes while parked on Mulholland Drive. And here's the wild part. 5 years later, he landed a movie deal paying him exactly $10 million. Coincidence? Not even close. That's what happens when your subconscious blueprint gets so strong. Reality has to catch up. You might not know this yet, but there was a man who cracked the code decades ago. Before manifestation was trendy, before gurus, before people turned it into a game of scripting and crystals. His name was Neville Goddard, and what he taught still scares people today, because it removes every excuse you've been hiding behind. Born in 1905, Neville wasn't a preacher, wasn't a businessman. He wasn't trying to sell you anything. He was a man who had experienced the truth and spent the rest of his life trying to help others see it. His message was radical then. It's still radical now. He said, your imagination is God. Your assumptions create reality. You are not a victim. You are the cause. Not in a believe and you'll receive kind of way. Not in a think positive thoughts way. Neville taught that consciousness is the only reality. And everything you experience is just the outer projection of your inner assumptions. He said this over and over. The world is yourself pushed out. And what he meant is this. Your relationships, your bank account, your bad luck, your success or lack of it, all of it is a mirror, not of your actions, not of your hustle, but of your deepest subconscious beliefs. Here's what separates Neville from everyone else. Most people focus on what they want. Neville taught you to focus on what you assume, because what you want might be a fantasy. But what you assume, what you live from, feel from, embody daily, is what gets impressed on your subconscious. And that's what manifests. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. You want more money. You can visualize stacks of cash every day. But if you still assume, I'm broke. Money doesn't come easy. That's not for people like me. Then no amount of scripting or vision boarding will save you. The feeling is the secret. This was Neville's most important message. It's the title of one of his most famous books. Feeling is the secret. Not thinking, not affirming mechanically. Feeling. Why? Because your subconscious mind doesn't speak English. It speaks vibration, emotion, repetition, identity. When you feel something as true, your body relaxes. Your nervous system accepts it. Neville taught his students to assume the wish fulfilled. To live from the end, not towards it. Not I hope it happens one day, but I already am. I already have. I already live in this state. Let's say you want more money. Neville wouldn't say, start a business or make a plan. He'd say, go into a quiet room, close your eyes, and imagine it's already done. Not watching the money arrive, but imagining that it already has. Imagine checking your account and seeing the balance. Imagine paying for things without flinching. Imagine feeling safe, free, relieved. Breathe in that feeling. Fall asleep in that feeling. Because sleep is the gateway to the subconscious. And what you fall asleep feeling becomes your dominant vibration. Here's one of Neville's exact techniques. Before bed, replay your day. But this time, revise what happened. If someone disrespected you, imagine they praised you. If you missed a sale, imagine it closed. If you felt fear, replace it with peace. Why? Because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. And if you revise your memory emotionally, your subconscious stores the revised version as truth. Do that enough, and reality shifts to match it. But what if I don't believe it? This is the trap. You want proof before you believe. Neville flips that. Believe it, and you'll see it. Not the other way around. He knew your outer world lags behind your inner shift. He knew most people quit right before reality cracks open. So he said, persist in the assumption, even if all evidence says otherwise. That's where most people fail. They imagine wealth for 2 nights, then look at their bank account and say, see? It didn't work. But that's the test. The universe is asking, do you believe in what you see? Or do you believe in what you know? Because once you become unshakable in the inner world, the outer world has no choice. Neville had students, real people. They followed his methods, and their lives changed dramatically. One man was desperate for work. Neville told him, imagine telling your friends you just got hired. Feel their joy, hear their words, smile like it's real. The man did it for days, and then, randomly, a company called him out of nowhere. Job, high pay, perfect fit. It wasn't random, it was the bridge of incidents. Reality restructured itself around his new inner assumption. You are not a victim. Neville taught something most people aren't ready to hear. There is no one to change but self. No one is coming to save you. Not the economy. Not your boss. Not God in the sky. Because you are the operant power. That's what makes people uncomfortable. They want to blame. They want it to be someone else's fault. But Neville strips that away. And he gives you back your power. You created this, and you can create something else. So why aren't you using this? That's the real question. Why are you still visualizing from lack? Still scripting like it's a chore? Still waiting for signs instead of deciding? You already have the truth. Neville handed it to you. Assume it is done. Feel it as real. Persist in that feeling. And watch the world reshape itself around your new identity. It's not a trick. It's a law. You've been using it unconsciously your whole life. Now it's time to do it on purpose. There's a name most people never hear, even though his work shaped everything that came after. Ernest Holmes. You might not know him yet. But if you've ever heard phrases like, change your thoughts, change your life. Your mind is a magnet. the universe responds to your belief, then you've already been influenced by him. Because long before manifestation was a hashtag, Ernest Holmes laid the spiritual blueprint for conscious creation through his groundbreaking work in what he called the science of mind. Who was Ernest Holmes? Born in 1887, Holmes was a philosopher, spiritual teacher, and metaphysical genius. But he wasn't preaching religion. He wasn't selling salvation. He was doing something far more dangerous to the status quo, teaching people how to use their own mind to access divine intelligence and create reality intentionally. He believed you didn't need a middleman. You didn't need to suffer. You didn't need to wait for heaven. You could have abundance, peace, health, wealth, now, if you understood one thing. Your mind is the access point to infinite source. Ernest Holmes didn't sugarcoat it. He said it plainly. There is a power in the universe greater than you, and you can use it. That power? Divine intelligence, God, universal mind, the field. Call it what you want. It doesn't care about the name. It cares about your alignment. And here's the rule. Whatever you impress upon this mind, through belief, emotion, repetition, it mirrors back into form. If you believe in lack, it gives you more lack. If you believe in overflow, it opens the gates. It's not personal, it's law. Holmes called it the law of mind in action. Let's say you keep hitting a wall financially. You try new strategies, you work harder, you budget, plan, grind, and still feel like you're running in circles. Holmes would say, stop fixing the outer. Start shifting the inner, because the outer is just an echo. You're not broke because you don't have money. You're broke because your mental blueprint says money is hard, and that belief is your signal, your broadcast. And the law, this infinite intelligence, responds to your signal, not your words. Wealth is a frequency. You command, not chase. Holmes didn't believe in chasing anything. He believed in becoming the type of person who naturally attracts it. We do not create things. We create the conditions that allow things to appear. You don't make money appear. You tune into the version of you who money already surrounds. That version of you already exists. He already lives in peace. He already earns what he wants. He already knows it's safe to receive. But your current vibration, the one stuck in anxiety, control, shame, and survival, can't match that frequency. So your job? Upgrade your inner environment, not by faking it, not by forcing it, by installing new beliefs through conscious command. Holmes had a practice called creating the mental equivalent. It's simple, but not easy. 1. Identify what you want. 2. Ask yourself, who do I have to become in thought to receive this? 3rd, train your mind to match it. So if you want more money, don't focus on the money. Focus on becoming the kind of man who has a mental equivalent of wealth. That means you stop thinking like a victim. You stop apologizing for your power. You stop rehearsing scarcity. You start rehearsing peace. You start practicing ease. You start responding like someone who already has. The more real that inner state becomes, the more the outer world mirrors it. Remember, God isn't withholding anything from you. Holmes said it best. Spirit is forever giving of itself. It is we who do not receive. There is no lack in the universe, only lack of belief, only self-imposed limitation, only the idea that something out there needs to change. But once you realize that your subconscious mind is the creative engine, you stop blaming, you stop waiting, you start taking spiritual responsibility. Wealth is not a reward, it's a result. One of Holmes's most powerful ideas was this: we are not punished for our sins but by them, meaning you're not being punished for struggling financially. But if you keep thinking, feeling, and vibrating as if you're broke, you'll keep living that loop. Same with money. You're not rewarded for praying harder or working more hours. You're rewarded for aligning with the law, internally, energetically, emotionally. And now you have to decide, Will you keep living from the same mental blueprints you inherited? Or will you become the conscious cause of your new reality? Because here's what Holmes knew. Without doubt, you already have the power. It's not missing. It's not broken. You just haven't learned how to use it. And once you do, life stops being a battle. It becomes a mirror, a receiver, a reflection of your chosen frequency. Ernest Holmes wasn't just a writer, he was a spiritual engineer. He mapped out the laws of reality in language anyone can understand. You are one with the creative mind. You are always creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. And your thoughts are the blueprint of your future. You don't have to beg for money. You don't have to prove you're worthy. You just have to become available for the reality you say you want. And that starts with belief. Not belief in a system, not belief in luck. Belief in your power to shape reality through thought, word, and alignment.